All right. Today I'm going to be doing a breakdown of My Arms Bend Back, the new just released song by me and Darko the Super from our new album, You Gotta Have Friends. And I interviewed Darko. We talked about the album as a whole and also the song. This is going to be possibly the shortest beat breakdown ever, because this is probably one of the simplest beats ever made by a person. I was checking out this English, I guess like pop rock compilation. I heard this little thing. So here we go. And that's it. I liked it. I threw some EQ on there, compression, got it like this. Then I grabbed another little cool turnaround thing from the same song. Got some EQ on that, some compression. And then here's both of those together. And I had all these fucking ideas of shit to do. Nothing was sticking. I was like, oh, this crazy musical layer will come in. Nah. It was fine how it was. And so I just wanted to add a little bit, but I was checking out this pub rock compilation. You might be like, oh yeah, punk rock, right? No, pub rock. I think that's where like Elvis Costello and like Nick Lowe and all them came from. But there was some stuff on here that sounded like Gary Glitter or something like that. But here is that was a long explanation for, I took a snare from that. You know, I wanted a very understated snare, spice it up a little bit, because the snare is already awesome in the song. But here we go. I got this 808 going. I never know which kind of 808s to pick. They never, when I fuck with these packs, they never sound like I don't feel like I'm listening to LL Cool J. It sounds like some bullshit. But I fucked with it, detuned it, compressed it. Now it's like, again, some English blues boys. I won't say the name, but I grabbed this sound from them. And that's the only auxiliary sound. Not to go off on a tangent, but my man Mickey Free got me thinking about this recently. Okay, I've always asked the question, why does so much music of this era sound like shit? And you know, you might not agree, but like if you go to Guitar Center and hear people playing guitar, why does it default sound bad and not good? Mickey's theory, which I stand by, is that just the way things were recorded in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, there's so many points of distortion that are added on every level, like between the guitar and the amp, between the amp and the mic into the mixer, and it's all good. It's all adding something. So even like the lamest band kind of sounded good at that time, you know? And I think that continues even until the 80s, where it's like, is it the 808 itself? Partially, yes, but I think it's also everything that's surrounding it, that like what it's going into, what it's coming back out of, etc. You know, so that's my theory on all that. Fleetwood Mac, that's not my favorite band or anything, but I'm down. You know, I fuck with Tusk and all that. If you go see them, look up them on YouTube playing live in like the 2000s, it sounds like not horrible, but just a lame Fleetwood Mac cover band, because like so much of the analog kind of distortions that they weren't even thinking about are gone, and they don't know how to get them back. That's all there is to this entire beat. This loop, the auxiliary stab, the kick, the snare, and the crazy effect. Let me play you that whole thing real quick. I sent that off not knowing, will I add more to it? What am I going to do with it? And I want to show you real quick. The first thing that happened was Darko sent me back this verse over it. And here we go.
If it takes all night, then it takes all night. Darko goes on when Darko feels right. on a hell-bent journey. Wheeled off on the gurney. It's my turn, see, no one could burn me. Sit back and learn me. Ways the thug thistle unfolds. Don't stop till the whistle blows. Gristle through your nose bone. Lo and behold, you act like 3-year-olds. $3 bills, real meal deals for 2. Don't get that on the first date, or else you'll be a sucker who ain't getting groovy tonight. The droopy-eyed groupie delights. Rockin' magic mic, sparkling gold. Too hot to hold, too cold to handle. My lyrics wind blew out your candle. Like my friend, they call him Murdoch. Solving mysteries like Sherlock. Like how all the birds drop from the sky. I bet a man in an insane asylum on a distant island knows exactly why. But he hasn't talked in years. That is until you walked in here and said, if I don't have you. She was 5'4", he was 10'2", serving me lunch at the venue. What's on the menu?
Crazy verse. I absolutely loved it. And, you know, we get into this a little bit. You'll see later on when we get Darko in the mix. But I really was like, not sure. I'm like, on these minimal beats that we got going and everything, I haven't really been doing that kind of music where it's just like lyrics, wordplay, all that. Like, really, no. Like 5 years ago, we did the last Shark Tank album, and I feel like I was more like in a production mind state on that. Like my rhymes, I liked them, but I don't know. I don't think of myself as like, I'll stand next to any man and flow. I started thinking about, could I write some stuff like this? And one thing that got into my mind was, if anybody knows the Ramble Z K-Rob song, Beat Bop, one of the greatest rap songs of all time, I would say. I love the way the two of them sound. One guy's like, you know, that long fingernail at the end of my tip, on my pinky cocaine, let it slip on my lip. And like the other guy's like, I go to church and do my work instead of being a jerk. Like they got like opposite styles kind of. They wanted it to be like Red Riding Hood, if that makes any sense. Like K-Rob is the girl and like Ramble Z is the wolf. I was kind of thinking about it like that. Like I kind of have a more simple style. 'Cause like I feel like Darko's kind of like this Tasmanian devil. And I was like, I want to be a little more down the middle, but as like lyrical and fun and everything. And so I'm going to show you my verse. When we filmed one of the videos for the Necessary People album in Brooklyn, and then I dropped Wade Wilson off back at his house and instantly got stuck in traffic and was just sitting around in New York for hours letting this beat ride. And I was thinking about different stuff. So I'm going to show you this verse, and then I'll break down a little behind the scenes of my verse in particular, and then we'll bring on the main event.
Tab was a popular drink, but not now. We pushed the amps up to the brink and got loud. The 666 set was cool, but got foul. Cops started spraying mace, swinging clubs at the crowd. I can't stand at a standstill. Tom McDonald CDs landing all in the landfill. When it's time to rock the damn bill, we don't need skull snaps, rapper dapper, a mandrill. We don't even need Donovan either, unless we're talking Don Days and John Blaze, the bomb feature. Cause then it's on like fluorescent lights at Motel 6. The motor's sick, we can propel quick. Cause my bathtub Millie rocks, walls do the wop. My floors do the freak without pausing to stop. LED light schemes beam out on the lawn, and the roof slides back to reveal the whole John. Producer Michael can't clock the way I'm living. If you're with it, hit the oak tree and tie a yellow ribbon. My arms bend back to a crazy degree. That's why we wear shirts and jackets so nobody can see.
I was thinking about my man Jordan Weeks. We were listening to like, I think it was Supreme Clientele or something like that. And he's an older guy. Like he already was kind of over everything when that album came out. But then now he's checking it out and he's like, what are they talking about here? What does he mean here? What does he mean there? There's so many references to other things. There's so many plays on other people's verses, etc. He compared it to being in college and reading The Wasteland. The professor's like, well, to really know what he means here, you would have to have been in World War I and know that this one newspaper said this or that or blah, blah, blah. There's so many references, but you don't have to know them all, hopefully, to enjoy it. But I think they enrich things. And I sort of felt like I was tired of that kind of rap until now, like, or not tired of it, but retired from it, because that just hasn't been my focus. But I came back, and I'll break down a few lines. I said, Tab was a popular drink, but not now. That's, of course, a flip on the Guru line. Lemonade was a popular drink, and it still is, which I think is one of the greatest ways to start a rhyme ever. Tab is basically all the way out of here. And so I wanted to come in like that. I said the 666 set was cool, but got foul when cops started spraying mace, swinging clubs at the crowd. And that is something that happened when I went to see 3-6 Mafia at Towson University. And it turned into essentially a giant riot. The people weren't blameless, but it kind of turned into like a police brutality situation. Tom McDonald, let's get to him. Well, actually, the less said about Tom McDonald, the better. But he's basically like the centrist Republican Fox News rapper or whatever he is. So I said, I can't stand at a standstill. Tom McDonald CDs landing all in a landfill. So I had to get my dig in on dude, because I do feel like the music is trash. And, I'm all down with, Ted Nugent and all that stuff. Whatever. I'm, cool with people that have a different view, putting music out there. But, like, it's a lot more compelling if the music is tight. When it's time to rock the damn bill, we don't need skull snaps, rapper dapper, or mandrill. If anybody is familiar with the Ultramagnetic MC's album, Four Horsemen, there's a part where Kool Keith is talking about, we don't need Chic. We don't need Bohannon. We don't need Anthrax. I always was like, what does he mean? Like, and I guess I've come to learn in studying, Keith's career since then, that I feel like he basically means like we're not reliant on this amazing catalog of all these great samples and breaks to do our thing, and like he'll just have a whole track that's like one note on a keyboard or something, and it'll be incredible. I feel like he kind of talks a little bit more about that on his 98-year-old refrigerator, if that's what it's called. It was part of a DVD he put out. Jadakiss and Styles P, they came with the We Gonna Make It track back in the day, and everybody immediately went crazy for when he says, my bathtub lift up, my walls do a 360. And I went crazy too. How official would you have to be that like your bathtub could like lift up into the wall or something like that? So I feel like so many people sampled that little part. I had to change it up a little bit. So I said, my bathtub Millie rocks, walls do the wop, my floors do the freak without pausing to stop. LED light schemes beam out on the lawn, and the roof slides back to reveal the whole John. And then I say, producer Michael can't clock the way I'm living. If you want to check some bugged out shit, producer Michael, he's like a modern version of like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous or something like that. There's this particular episode where he's like being shown around the largest mansion in the Western world called The One in, I think, like Burbank or something like that. The guy who's showing him the house basically seems to be having some kind of like inner meltdown as he's like I think the house went bankrupt and no one bought it because it was so crazy. But it was like the roof slides away, all this kind of shit. My last reference in here, I say, my arms bend back, which I didn't even know until Darko said that. This is Twin Peaks talk we're talking now. But it said, my arms bend back to a crazy degree. That's why we wear shirts and jackets, so nobody can see. My man Joel Herring, he had some tape. Not the Backwoods Crew that's out now, but I feel like they were called something Backwoods. They were like kind of like a Goody Mob sounding group. They had this hook that's like, That's why we wear shirts and jackets. That's why we wear shirts and jackets. And like, I don't know. Doesn't everybody wear shirts? That's why we wear shirts and jackets, so nobody can see. That's my rhyme. And let's get to the main event, breaking down with Darko how this whole album and this song in particular came together. We got Darko the Super just down from New Jersey, and we got this new album. So I thought before breaking down these songs, I wanted to get your perspective on like how did this album start to form? And, you know, how did it come together as an idea? I know it was a long time in the making, if you can even remember.
You sent me beats. That's what happened. And
That's right.
You know, I wrote to the beats and whatnot and recorded them. And, you know, then you got on the tracks too. And became a delightful experience. We wanted to make a follow-up to our 2018 major success. What was it? Stories of a Made-Up Year. That's what it was called.
Yes.
And so we did just that. And, you know, way better. It's like, what's a sequel that's better than the original?
Terminator 2.
Okay. There you go. T2 in theaters this fall.
You know, I remember when I was first sending you these beats, you had mentioned Paul Barnum as a potential executive producer. Texted you and I said, what would an executive producer be in this context? And you texted back, I don't know, but I have the feeling we're about to find out. And we didn't find out.
We didn't find out.
Yeah. But
Paul's a great guy. You know, he offered to officiate my wedding. He's a wonderful man. Yeah, so he was talking about executive producing albums, and you know, and the first album I sent to him was our first album. He suggests I sing more, and I never did that. Unfortunately, I can't sing, but maybe I should take more advice sometimes. That's the lesson learned.
I think you do your thing with the singing. Let's kick it off with My Arms Bend Back. From your perspective as the guy that set the scene, laid this first verse, this hook, where were you coming from with this one?
I love Twin Peaks, and I follow all the Twin Peak, blogs and, pages, and, they always posting quotes and, screenshots, or what do you call that? Stills. In the biz, we call them stills.
Yeah.
And there's that one line, my arms bend back. And, I thought that was a bizarre thing to say, and so we should put it into a song. And the Black Lodge, that was also referenced in the song. White Dodge, drive a white Dodge. That was probably, I listened to a lot of Serengeti. It was probably influenced by that. Same with the intro, if it takes all night, then it takes all night. The D's goes on when the D's feels, that was his thing. So I flipped it. So my arms bend back. My arms, it just fit with the beat. I go with with the hooks. I go with what's the bass line saying to me. That's what it said to me. I said that. And, and I remember when another idea for when we first started the album I had was to name, each song was like a person, or like I had Gym Teacher, Donnie Darko. We had a song, Old Dirty Bastard. Yeah. And, this was going to be called Laura Palmer. But you didn't like some song named called Laura Palmer. You thought that'd be a bad idea.
You were like, let's call it Laura Palmer. And I was like, oh, I don't know if we need any Twin Peaks references. And then you were like, okay, but the whole thing is Twin Peaks. And I'm like, oh,
not the whole thing. Just the hook. And it don't even make sense. But I think that's what I like about it. It's trying to find the deeper meaning between things.
Expound upon that.
Yeah, drawing a blank on that one.
Respect.
Sometimes I like saying things that sound smart. Yeah. Then when I go back to it, I'm like, well, I was hoping you wouldn't ask me to expand upon that, because, speaking of Twin Peaks, that David Lynch thing when he's like, Eraserhead's my most spiritual film, and the guy goes, can you explain that? And he goes, no. So maybe I'll do that. Yeah. Maybe I'll start doing that. I'm just trying to remember the lyrics to the song while we're breaking it down, but I kicked it off out in a hellbent journey. Because all your beats, a lot of them at least, sound like some Western, like an old, movie, that we're just going on this crazy adventure in a way. Oh, and all the ups and downs of it. At least, a lot of your beats lead me to, stories in a way.
Yeah.
Like, sort of paint a picture in your head. So every time I hear your beat, I'm like, I'm going on this, bizarre ride, Out in a hell-bent journey, wheeled off on the gurney. It's my turn, see, no one could burn me, sit back and learn thee. That's how you kick off the album. The album's a hell-bent journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say something with this track. I feel like you kind of like have got me to a totally different place with my writing and stuff in working on this whole album. But for this track in particular, I don't know if you feel this ever as somebody that makes beats and also raps, but like sometimes I think what I want to do with music gets so specific. And it's like it can only be this one thing. I miss out on just the fun of rapping.
Oh, okay.
I think sometimes it's like I never like focus too much on like lyrics or skills or whatever. I've more just been like, it's got to be good enough that it sounds the way I want it to sound. But like,
yeah, well, that's how I am with recording the songs. It takes me a while to record because I want to do it a specific way.
Yeah,
you know. So I'm very particular with recording to the point it's like it could be just a downer. You know, I'm like, all right, I got to stop for today because when you're not getting things right, it's it takes away from what it's supposed to be. But I'm also a perfectionist in that sort. Sometimes depends on the song because you write the lyrics and it has some of these songs are so powerful for you. You want it to be a specific way and it's got to come out this way and it's got to feel this way and it has to be this sort of pattern. I get a little particular with that. When you're writing, it's better to let yourself loose in a way. You got to stream of conscious, stream of unconscious.
Did I ever play you any of these albums? It's like before we met, definitely, but it's like versus dynamic sound.
Yeah, I love those. I watched the videos. Those are awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, I've listened to them on your Bandcamp.
So I'm like taking all these classic breaks and I'm going so fucking conceptual with it. I'm like, we're gonna have the same delay sound as it would sound like this, like blah 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 blah, and a rap exactly like Spoonie G and this and that. I remember I heard this like new Meek Mill song, new at the time. And it was like him rapping over Apache. Oh, okay. But it was just like him doing some modern rhymes over that. And I was like, not everything has to be like a concept. A great beat or a great break or whatever is just a great break. You're one of my favorite rappers. And it's like, I have my doubts about like, can I hang? Especially on these beats. Like this beat is just like a bass line pretty much and a snare drum. A fire MC can be fire on anything. Like Cool Keith.
Well, a bass line and a snare drum are my favorite beats.
Yeah. It's two important elements to have. But like Cool Keith has so many albums where he's just basically rapping on like a click track and it sounds great, It's just like a very simple like keyboard line. I feel like I had to come correct next to these Darko verses, and I feel like I did my thing and I got to a new place. So I feel like really
Tab was a popular drink, but not now. Yeah, no, I love all your verses on this album. You brought this style that I think people aren't haven't heard in a while from you maybe.
Yeah, and I was sort of like, does it even exist for me anymore? But
sure,
it does. You just have to do it.
Yeah, it's like riding a bike if you know how to ride a bike.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like
some people don't.
I don't know. I think about like so many people we know, like Illingsworth or your man, Homeboy Sandman and stuff. It's like people just love to hear them rap. And it's like, it does not have to be attached to any particular concept or anything. Yeah. They just have so much confidence and like humor and skill and everything kind of weighted away from that. And it was like really exciting to like just go back in to like hear some tight verses. You know?
Now that I think of it, like most of your solo songs, they have conceptual, and subject matter that you follow. And I've actually been leaning more into that than and less this stuff I do.
So there you have it. That is the My Arms Bend Back breakdown. We're going to be doing this every week. We got more videos, more performances, more everything for you from this album and from all the forthcoming albums on Cold Rhymes. Thank you for watching this, and thanks to Darko, and we're out of here.